Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Good evening. Tonight, we bring you a story that is already reshaping the lives of thousands and could have far-reaching consequences for the entire region. Today, August 15, 2025, Canada has closed the Alaska Highway to all non-essential U.S. traffic. An unprecedented move that's left Alaska suddenly isolated from the rest of the continent. The border, once a symbol of cooperation, now stands as a barrier. For nearly a century, this highway has been Alaska's main land link to the lower 48, a symbol of partnership and a lifeline for hundreds of thousands. Built during World War II, it was a marvel of engineering and a testament to the enduring relationship between the U.S. and Canada. This morning, Ottawa announced the closure, citing urgent concerns we'll examine shortly. The decision made at the highest levels has sent shockwaves through both nations. The impact was immediate. Border gates dropped, trucks turned away, families stranded on both sides, unsure when or if they'll be able to reunite with loved ones or return home. The message is clear: Alaska's only road to the rest of America is now shut, and the sense of isolation is palpable. This isn't just a scenic route, it's the backbone of Alaska's economy and daily life. Every shipment of food, fuel, and medicine relies on this vital artery. Without it, Alaska is effectively an island dependent on costly sea or air transport. The logistical challenges are immense and prices for basic goods are expected to soar. The closure threatens the state's ability to function, making even basic errands a matter of national concern. Residents are already reporting shortages and uncertainty about the future. The timing is explosive, landing amid already tense U.S.-Canada relations. Diplomatic channels are buzzing as both sides scramble to respond. Many in Washington see this as a calculated challenge, not a mere administrative act. Lawmakers are demanding answers and considering retaliatory measures. Former President Donald Trump has already issued a forceful response, reigniting political tensions and calling for immediate action to restore access. This is more than a closed road. It's a deepening rift between two close allies, and the world is watching to see what happens next. For Alaska's 730,000 residents, the highway closure feels like a siege. Alaskans are resilient, but this is different. This is isolation imposed by politics. The psychological toll is heavy. Families are separated, students and military families stranded. The highway is more than a road, it's the artery for family, freedom, and survival. Economically, the shutdown is a slow-motion disaster. Alaska's supply chain is fragile. Most goods arrive by truck. Supermarkets warn of shortages and price hikes. Lettuce could soon be a luxury. Small businesses face ruin, and the tourism industry is devastated overnight. For communities along the highway, the road is their economy. Motels, gas stations, diners now sit empty. Family-run businesses face an uncertain future. The closure creates an economic dead zone on both sides of the border. Canadians in the Yukon are hit just as hard, their livelihoods tied to the flow of American travelers. The impact is personal, immediate, and deeply unsettling. Alaska's independence has become its vulnerability. Canada's decision wasn't made lightly. Prime Minister Trudeau cited national sovereignty and environmental protection, pointing to repeated violations of Canadian law by U.S. travelers. Ottawa detailed illegal dumping, unauthorized firearms, and disregard for local rules. Frustration with U.S. trade disputes and environmental disagreements also played a role. The closure is a powerful lever, Canada's way of demanding respect and forcing negotiation. Safety concerns are real. Police report rising incidents along the route, straining emergency services and local communities. Canada frames this as a necessary pause to reset the rules and protect its citizens. There's also national pride at stake, a declaration that Canada controls its borders. Ottawa is betting that reasserting sovereignty outweighs short-term economic pain. It's a bold move that's fundamentally changed the U.S.-Canada relationship. Donald Trump wasted no time responding. On Truth Social, he called the closure disgraceful and vowed swift action. He convened Republican leaders, framing the crisis as a national security emergency. Trump announced plans for an air and sea bridge to Alaska, invoking the Berlin airlift. He called for retaliatory tariffs on Canadian imports, targeting key industries. His message: America won't be held hostage by a foreign government. Trump's rhetoric turned a complex issue into a simple narrative of American strength versus foreign disrespect. His actions forced the current administration to react, seizing control of the narrative. Supporters see decisive leadership. Critics warn of reckless brinkmanship. The response has escalated tensions, putting both governments on a collision course. Trump's moves are as much about politics as policy. The crisis has become a stage for power and posturing. In Anchorage, a potent mix of anger, fear, and defiance fills the air. Residents gather in the streets, their voices echoing frustration and uncertainty as they face a crisis that feels both distant and deeply personal. Sarah Jenkins, a small business owner, stands outside her shuttered shop, her livelihood hanging in the balance. With vital shipments stuck in Canada, she worries about how long her business can survive, and what the future holds for her family and employees. Many Alaskans feel like pawns in a distant political game, caught between powerful governments making decisions far from their daily lives. Their frustration grows as the days drag on, with no clear end in sight. In Whitehorse, Yukon, motel owner Pierre Dubois surveys his empty rooms and deserted lobby. He laments the lost income and the uncertainty that now shadows his once thriving business, wondering when travelers will return. Some Canadians support the closure, citing environmental concerns and the need to protect their land. Yet, many others feel the economic pain alongside their Alaskan neighbors, as businesses struggle and communities worry about the future. In Washington, Alaska's senator calls Canada's action aggressive, demanding urgent solutions and warning of lasting consequences if the crisis drags on. Democrats urge caution, wary of Trump's escalatory rhetoric and the risk of worsening tensions. They call for measured responses and diplomatic engagement. Congress is united in its sense of urgency, but deeply divided on how to resolve the standoff. Heated debates reflect the high stakes and the pressure to act quickly. Canada's ambassador maintains the closure is temporary, rooted in sovereignty and safety. He emphasizes that Canada's actions are not meant to provoke, but to protect. He calls for open dialogue, insisting that disruptive behavior must be addressed before any progress can be made. Both sides, he says, must come to the table in good faith. The contrast between calm Canadian diplomacy and fiery U.S. rhetoric is stark, highlighting the cultural and political differences at play. Both governments claim to defend their people, but it's ordinary citizens, families, workers, and business owners who bear the brunt of the crisis, waiting anxiously for answers. The crisis has exposed deep divisions, tested old alliances, and raised questions about the future of cross-border cooperation. The path forward remains uncertain, but the need for resolution grows more urgent with each passing day, as communities on both sides of the border hope for relief. The world is watching closely, waiting to see how these two nations, bound by history and geography, will handle the fallout and shape the next chapter of their relationship. Political maneuvering is in full swing. The White House condemns the closure and opens diplomatic channels, while the Pentagon studies the logistics of an air and sea bridge. Trudeau's government holds firm, signaling willingness to negotiate, but betting economic pressure will force U.S. concessions. Canadian diplomats frame the move as pro-sovereignty, seeking international support. Trump, outside official channels, uses the crisis to rally his base and pressure both governments. Every day the highway stays closed, he gains political ground. The international community is alarmed, fearing broader instability. Allies worry about the ripple effects on trade and security. The world hopes for cooler heads before the crisis spirals further. The most immediate fix is a costly air and sea bridge, rapidly mobilized to keep Alaska connected to the rest of the country. But while this emergency measure can keep some goods flowing, it's a stopgap, not a sustainable solution for the long term. Supplying Alaska by air and sea is not only expensive, but also logistically challenging and limited in capacity. Essential goods like food, medicine, and fuel might get through, but the full range of supplies Alaskans rely on would be hard to deliver consistently. Many shelves could remain empty, and prices would likely soar. Diplomacy offers a more promising path forward. Canada could agree to reopen the highway in exchange for U.S. concessions, perhaps stricter transit rules, enhanced security, or new trade negotiations that address both countries' concerns. Both sides would need to compromise, stepping back from maximalist positions and showing flexibility to reach a mutually beneficial agreement. If talks break down, the consequences could be severe. A trade war looms, with retaliatory tariffs and restrictions that would hurt businesses, disrupt supply chains, and damage both economies on a much larger scale. In a worst-case scenario, U.S. military escorts for cargo ships could escalate tensions dramatically, risking a major international crisis and further destabilizing the region. The most likely outcome, however, is a mix of pressure and negotiation, with both sides seeking to avoid the worst while protecting their interests. The U.S. will prepare for an air and sea bridge to gain leverage at the negotiating table, while diplomats on both sides work tirelessly to craft a face-saving deal that can be sold at home. The challenge is finding a solution that satisfies both nations' pride and practical needs, ensuring Alaska's lifeline is restored without either side appearing to back down. The longer the standoff drags on, the greater the economic and social damage. Businesses close, communities suffer, and trust erodes on both sides of the border. Compromise is essential, but time is running out. The clock is ticking, and the stakes for both nations and for Alaska could not be higher. No matter the outcome, this crisis will scar U.S.-Canada relations. The trust that defined the world's longest undefended border has been shaken. The closure turns a symbol of friendship into a barricade, forcing both nations to reassess their alliance. Economic fallout could ripple across North America, disrupting industries and raising prices. The dispute sends a troubling message to the world. If these allies can fracture, so can others. Adversaries like Russia and China are watching, seeing opportunity in Western discord. On a personal level, resentment and suspicion now replace camaraderie in border communities. Families and businesses feel the strain, and rebuilding trust will take years. The shared North American identity has been weakened. Healing will require effort from leaders and citizens alike. As August 15th closes, the future is uncertain. The next 48 hours are critical. Will the U.S. choose diplomacy or confrontation? Alaska's supply crisis could force Washington's hand, shaping the political narrative. The air and sea bridge is a logistical gamble, but may be necessary. This crisis could reshape how America secures Alaska's future, prompting major infrastructure investments. For now, two close allies are locked in a dangerous standoff. The fate of Alaska, North American stability, and a historic partnership hang in the balance. Will shared history overcome this rupture, or is a colder era beginning? The only certainty, the road ahead is difficult. We'll continue to follow this story. Good night.